What's up, you guys? This is Josh here. Thanks for coming to my channel where we talk about all things money. Today I have a stimulus check and stimulus package update for you guys on Friday, July 24th. Let's get into it. Alright, so super exciting news. We now know that we are probably going to get another stimulus check. Of course, this is still being debated and negotiated in Congress, but yesterday we heard from Secretary Steven Mnuchin, and he said that we would be getting another check. They're asking for the same provisions as last time. Now, we know that we had heard previously where they were trying to have a more targeted approach and maybe take it down to like people who made $40,000 a year or less, but that created some significant problems because they couldn't figure out exactly who made $40,000 or less, and you would have to basically recreate the system, and it was going to be a lot of trouble for them, and it would really delay getting the checks out. Now, last time they used the same parameters, the $75,000 phase out for singles, and then more if you were married. The parameters will still be the same, so it should be pretty easy for them to get those checks out relatively quickly. It shouldn't be any kind of big deal. Just a push of a button and they're in your bank account. So that's super exciting, very encouraging. We will probably see money in our accounts hopefully sometime in early August. We know that Congress is going to take a recess on August 7th, and we have heard from basically everybody who was in charge and trying to negotiate this thing that something will be passed by August 7th. Now, we know that the Democrats are holding pretty strong. Nancy Pelosi actually came out yesterday and said that she does not know where the $40,000 figure came out, but it's not a negotiable thing. That's just crazy. She doesn't support it, and she said that if Republicans really wanted to drive that home, then they would need to be able to prove it and they would need to be able to justify it. And she's not willing to really negotiate. She's holding pretty strong. So I'm glad that the Republicans kind of backed down from that, because that could have significantly delayed the next package. Now, I will say that if you guys remember, back in early June, the House actually passed what we call the HEROES Act, and that gave $1,200 checks to the same people that got them last time, but the income thresholds were actually raised. I believe it was about $150,000 per year that you could make without starting to phase out your check. In addition to that, a lot of people we know from last time, college students, elderly people that lived with someone and they were a dependent, a lot of different things like that, where they actually did not get a check. And so the HEROES Act actually was going to go back, give those people a $1,200 check, or if they got $500 last time for kids, they were going to give them the difference of the $1,200, and then they were going to, this next go around on the HEROES Act, actually give them a $1,200 check for everyone up to 3 people. So it's going to be kind of negotiated if they use the criteria for the HEROES Act, but we know that it won't go any less. Republicans, as obviously I've already stated, said that they want to use the same criteria. Democrats might push back a little bit. We'll see what happens with that. Now, something that's really scary is the fact that the $600 added-on benefit for the CARES Act is going to end this Saturday or today. Depending upon which state you live in, the end of the week is determined by a Friday or a Saturday. So, we know that there most likely will be a lapse in benefits because nobody can seem to come to a deal on the unemployment extension. Now, Republicans have wanted to kind of decrease this to 70% of whatever a person's salary is. We've heard $100 a week, $200 a week, $300 a week, and $400 a week. So who knows what's actually going to happen, but the thing that we do know is that the Republicans have had a major issue with paying people more than they would if they were actually at work. Now, this isn't true for everybody, because at a certain point, you know, you would actually make more than the $600 $600 per week, but we know that it is true for low wage earners, and we know that those people have been hit the most by this. Now, that's really scary because those people are, a lot of them are currently facing evictions and a lot of other issues just meeting daily demands. We got updated unemployment numbers this week. Right now, 32 million Americans are unemployed, and last week the unemployment rate was hovering around 11%. We have seen like a decrease in the number of people that were on unemployment and the rate, but we know that we're having a resurgence of cases, and it's really pushing a lot of people out of their workplace and back into their homes to either heal or wait until everybody gets better and they can go back to work. If you notice what's going on right now in the world, you kind of see a mixed up, jumbled situation. The stock market is doing exponentially well. A lot of people are facing evictions. People who are on the lower end of earners are really having a hard time right now, but then some of the middle class has been able to save a lot, and the savings rate for the US has gone up to 23%. Now, usually it hovers between 11 and 12%. Sometimes it even goes down to 9 and 10. Just depends on the year and the kind of economic situation that we're in. So this has been a really good chance for a lot of people who are in the middle class to actually save a lot of money and prepare and have a cash reserve in case something happens and they need it. Now, with that being said, we know that a lot of people are about to be evicted. Houston right now is having a major housing crisis because the local mayors of the towns that make up the city of Houston have not enacted policy to prevent people from being evicted. Now, there's a federal mandate, but that mandate expires on July 31st. A lot of people could be kicked out of their homes. Roughly some 11 million people are protected by this right now. We see it in Houston already happening where cases are rising daily. Hospitals are overloaded and they're bringing in trucks so that they can store the bodies because there's about a 2-week wait for any sort of funeral service or to be cremated. We've heard from so many people about what's going on with this unemployment thing, and we know that right now there most likely will be a lapse in benefits because people are not going to be able to claim next week's benefits. We know that there is really a lot going on with the unemployment system. They were staffed for levels of 2 to 3% of unemployment, and now all of a sudden they're hit with, up to 14, 15% at times, but we're hovering around 11 right now. This has caused significant delays in people actually getting benefits and getting on the system on a regular basis and claiming those benefits. We've heard from the Department of Labor that if they were to implement Secretary Steven Mnuchin's plan, which is where people get 70% of their salary, the system would just not be able to handle it. Some states have actually had to hire consulting firms to come in and pay them millions of dollars so that way they can work through the unemployment claims and get these claims processed. It's roughly about 59% of people who have applied for unemployment through the CARES Act have received their benefits, but we still have the rest of those people who have not. Now that is significant. And then in addition to that, they want to change the system. There's simply just no way to do it, so I don't expect to see it happening. I don't know if I expect to see the $600 actually happening either, but we've also heard that if they were to decrease that, it would still take a couple of months to implement on a statewide level because the states are responsible for making sure that this money goes to the proper people and they're getting it out in a timely manner. Now that's very scary because if this happens, this week will be the last time that people can claim that benefit, and they could be without money for a couple of months, and then we are going to see even more of a drastic increase of evictions. We've heard from the National Association of Housing and people, all these apartment communities and a lot of big developers that own real estate, and they're very scared because they know that their tenants are unemployed, but so far they've been able to make rent. But if this benefit goes away, it's going to be really tough for them to stay up on their rent and not face an eviction. Now, I am in no way saying that being evicted is a proper thing to do, but you also have to understand that these landlords, especially these mom and pop landlords who own a couple of houses here, a couple of houses there, have to pay the mortgage on those properties, and every month that people are not in, and paying rent, I mean, that's coming out of their pocket. So that's a huge issue for them as well, because if the people don't pay, the landlord can't pay, and then the bank can't pay. So we have a mass eviction crisis. I've made another video about this on the horizon, and we really need to see strong action from Congress and give these people some money so that they can pay their rent. This has been suggested as in the form of some kind of housing assistance program, maybe mortgage loan forbearance, which was actually already given to a lot of landlords through the CARES Act, extending that, doing something so that they can meet the need right this moment. Republicans have been really hesitant, but it's gonna need to happen, or else we're going to see significant economic damage and things get really bad in the stock market as investors start to get scared. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button down below. I will see you guys tomorrow for another update.